So friends, welcome to the part 1 of advanced networking specialty in AWS. So if you have not yet subscribed, do so. It will help you with your cloud journey. So this is the first question, and this is not a very straightforward certification. It is an advanced certification, so requires a lot of thought to be put in. We will try to do justice. Let's see. So you have a company and they are trying to create a service that requires encryption in transit. Encryption in transit means you have these two blocks and these two guys are talking to each other. The third guy sitting here should not be able to hear what are these two guys talking. That is the whole concept. So this is your client and this is your backend service. So this is your backend service which is on Kubernetes, Elastic Kubernetes clusters, and it also has autoscaler components. Your company needs to use mutual TLS for a two-way authentication. Okay, what solution should we use? So if you see these solutions, there are four of them, and um, and we should use a network load balancer with a TCP listener. That is for sure, because TCP is a basic protocol that we use with 443. Okay, so first let us understand what is a two-way mutual authentication. So it is a security protocol that requires both client and the server to authenticate each other. So suppose uh, these two guys are talking to each other. So this guy sends a message to this guy, and then this guy says, "Okay." So this guy, before sending the message, he will say, "Okay, can you authenticate?" You used to see that those uh, old Tamil or Hindi movies, they will utter a code word "Black Cobra," something of that sort, and then they will say, "Okay, now we can exchange our products." So it's similar to that. Someone has to say Black Cobra, both the client and the server will have to say that. So to authenticate using digital certificates, and then uh, this is in contrast with TLS where only server authenticates. So we are not using TLS here. That is the reason, because when people say two-way mutual authentication, that means TLS cannot fit the bill. TLS only server authenticates. Okay, so that is why we will not use anything with the TLS listener here. So this is getting striked out. So our question is very clear. No decryption should happen in between these two guys, and there should be a two-way authentication. One point to note is they are saying that the company will use the service by using gRPC protocol over TCP. Since they are already telling they will use TCP, we will go with TCP. Okay, so with the TCP, we only have one option. So remaining two would not fit the bill here. But what is gRPC? It is a remote procedure call and is a modern open source RPC framework used for building. You can build high performance, scalable, and efficient communication channels. It allows applications to call procedures on remote servers as if they were local functions. So you, even if you are remote, like even if you are somewhere in other country, you can still call out. Like, a lot of people are saying, hey, in Canada, Indian agencies assassinated someone. So even if they are here, they still have that capacity to make some actions, good or bad, I don't know. But when the people who provide security, they know very well what they are doing. But in this case also, you can be remote, but you can work as if you are there on the ground, and you can use local functions. So we have established here uh, why we are choosing the first answer, option A. We will install load balancer controller for Kubernetes first. Then using this controller, we will configure network load balancer. Like in this case, since we are talking about communication protocols, network load balancer is better than application load balancer. Okay, network load balancer has a different usage and it works very well with the TCP listener. Since I'm seeing a word TCP here, so I will go with the TCP listener on port 443, and then it can forward traffic to IP addresses of the backend service pods. So we have these pods here, and in the backend, it can do that. Now let us look at this next question here. So you are deploying an application in cloud, obviously AWS, and the company wants a highly available web server that will sit behind Elastic Load Balancer. So you have a load balancer here, and then you have web servers here behind. So a user will first connect with a load balancer, and then they can connect with these web servers. Okay, that is the thing that we are talking about now. So what happens here is the load balancer will route requests to multiple target groups using URL based on URL. Okay, so this routing, the load balancer will decide, okay, I want to send to this or this. It is like a team lead. Team lead decides, okay, whom to send it. The work comes to the team lead. The team lead will say, okay, should I send this work to this guy or this guy or this girl, something of that sort. So that is what it's saying. So the multiple target groups based on URL in the request. So if we are talking about URL in the request, we most likely are talking about path-based routing, because URL is actually a path. So in the path-based routing, you will see the feature of load balancers that allows you to route incoming requests to different target groups based on URL path, URL path, URL path. Okay, host-based routing is not based on URL path. Okay, then you might say, boss, what it is based on? Host-based routing, it is based on domain name. To route, it will check the domain name and it will say, hey Parag, this is a work for you. Hey Sheetal, this is the work for you. If you do URL based, that means it will say, okay, employee number 112269, Parag, this is your request. Employee number 22225, Bangalore office, some whatever is the campus, Infosys campus, and whatever is the desk number, entire path will be given, so that there is no confusion which Parag, which Sheetal. We want no confusion. Okay, we don't want to waste time. So what happens? You cannot use host-based routing. I showed you just now. Okay, so host-based routing, whichever options are there, it is incorrect. Now we have two options, A and C. Both are saying I will use path-based routing. Choose me, choose me. Now we will have to look for differentiators. Okay, what's the differentiator? The differentiator is C is saying I'll use network load balancer. A is saying I will use application load balancer. This question, in question one, it was a clear-cut case for a network load balancer. We were talking about communication, encryption, and so on. This question is about balancing the load, like based on this guy is a team lead. This guy will say, I want to route the request to here based on the health checks and availability of the people. Okay, that is a precise application load balancer job. So that is why I think this is wrong. But now another thing which is different is this guy is saying I will configure client IP address preservation for traffic to the targets. And this guy here is saying I will use X forwarded. What is X forwarded? X forwarded for, so it's a standard HTTP header that identifies the original IP address of a client connecting to a web server through a proxy or a load balancer. So the client is here. Okay, this guy is here. This guy is a load balancer. Original IP comes in here. So that is what it is saying is original IP address of a client connecting to a web server through a proxy or load balancer. That is what is happening here. Now it is essential for AWS environments where load balancers intercept traffic and mask the true client IP address from the backend servers. What is client IP address preservation? The mechanism that maintains original client IP address throughout the network hops. so that it is easy for hackers. Okay, this guy does not rely on XFF header. We should rely on XFF header. This is the way forward. So option A would be our final answer. We would first deploy load balancer with the HTTPS listener. Okay, why HTTPS listener? Because all traffic must use HTTPS. Simple. There is no brainer here. All traffic to use HTTPS. So that's why this is wrong. This is wrong. Okay, we just want to understand how to remove the bad apples. Use path-based routing. I showed you why path-based routing, because entire path is there. We will use it to forward the traffic to correct target group, correct web servers. Which web server, this or that, whatever. Now let us look at question 3. You are a global delivery company. You are modernizing your fleet management system. Okay, something like UPS, courier service, or something of that sort. And the company has several business units. You have HR, you have finance, you have sales, and etc. You have so many things. Okay, now each business unit maintains applications that are hosted on its own account. So each of these guys have their own account in separate VPCs. They have separate VPCs, but everything is in one region only. And where is the data source kept? The data source is somewhere here, which is central to all of them can access it using a shared services VPC. Now the company is telling the network connectivity architecture, I want granular security controls. The architecture must be able to scale. Okay, which solution should I use in the most secure man? Most secure. See, obviously you want network security here, most secure. So what is happening? You have your own VPCs. Each department has their own VPCs. Fantastic. Okay, but they now want to talk to a shared VPC. So what does a private link do? First, we have to understand it establishes connectivity between VPCs. In our question, each department has VPCs. Okay, so the VPC to VPC connectivity establishes and other AWS services without going via internet. See, if you go via internet, the entire security issue is screwed up. I don't want to go via internet because the question, who told me? Who told me, boss? The question told me, boss. Question is telling you again and again, make this possible using the most secured manner. They want good security and they want granular level of security controls. Question is clearly telling you. Okay, you got to listen to what question is telling you. Okay, so private link will help you with that. It is meant for this purpose. Okay, now which option has private link here? So we have this option. Only one option. My job is easy now because I see only one option using private link. And what they are saying is we will create endpoints powered by private link so that the endpoints can talk to each other. Okay, buddy, I get it. Now what? And they will uh, do that in a central shared services space, VPC. They will create VPC endpoints in each application VPC so that these guys can also talk to this shared service. Everything is possible in this solution. Okay, but let us scan other options also. See, option A, they are talking about a transit gateway. My friend, why do we use a transit gateway? If you have already cleared AWS CCP, the first certification of AWS cloud, you should understand what is a transit gateway. The transit gateway, if you have on premises in question, then you can connect VPCs, AWS accounts, and on premises networks to a single gateway. But my friend, I don't have on premises, no, in my question. If I don't have on premises, why will I use this? out of question. Okay, do not spend more time understanding what more should I read. Nothing, it is wrong. Be saying, let us create VPC peering connection, VPC peering between central services and each application. Okay, so you would pair this guy to this guy, you would pair this guy to this guy, and you would pair this guy to this guy. So VPC pairing between shared services VPC and each application VPC in each business unit AWS account. This you can do that, but option C is better because uh, it will be backed up by a private link, that is a service which is meant for you know helping you with these kind of work. So I think C is better than B. D is telling that I would create a central transit VPC within a VPN appliance and from AWS Marketplace. So one place we are telling boss, give me what is secured. Boss is telling, okay, let us go to marketplace. Hey boss, marketplace, your own service is secured. No, why will I go to marketplace and take someone else's services? Okay, AWS Marketplace, if I take a VPN appliance there, I don't know what is the safety, security, what exposures can happen. So this is the most insecure solution for me. Why will I do that? See, the beauty of using uh, the private link, no? So you can pause this and read it. It allows private connectivity, okay, between the VPCs. So connect your VPC to other VPC in the same region, even across accounts. You can do that first. Second is it does not touch internet at all. Since we want a very safe service, see VPC peering is also safe. It that VPC peering, it will also not use internet. Hmm. But the effort is more, and the security here is high if you use this service private link. Okay, you can connect to services offered by marketplace partners also. Even though I'm saying first don't do that, because you're opening a door for external people. So let me know if you think otherwise. Right now we think private link option would be a better one, option C. So if you're not yet subscribed, do so and onboard your cloud journey. The best possible time to start this journey was yesterday, and the next best possible time is today. So nothing is lost. You are still in the game, and focus on the concepts. We try to explain the concepts as much as possible. But if you have constructive comments, please drop in your comments. And then this is the end of part one. We will post many more parts on this certification. This is an advanced certification, so you might require an additional level of preparation here. See you in the next part.